So someone who very believably has the name John Anon says, so is there good evidence that the Ark of the Covenant is still in Ethiopia? What is, Orthodox perspectives? ?
I mean, what's your measure of good evidence? The Ethiopians say that they've had it. They've always said that they have it, and nobody else has it. So,
and you can't go look at it.
And you can't go look at it.
It's a funny thing. Like sometimes we're like, well, why won't you let anybody look at it? Like, prove it.
Right,
and,
right.
And they super don't care about proving it.
Super do not care.
They just, it's like, I mean, we don't want you to die. Haven't you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Now, I have been told, I've never been in the altar of an Ethiopian church, but I've been told that they have like a little tabernacle in the shape of an ark. Like
yes. Actually, Samuel mentions this in a subsequent comment. He says the original Ark of the Covenant is kept in Our Lady Mariam of Zion Church in Aksum,
right.
ancient capital of Ethiopia. Every Ethiopian Orthodox church has a replica of the Ark called a tabit. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but
which is like tavot. It means tabernacle.
Which they carry around, around in processions and this sort of stuff.
So, listen, I think the fact that the Ethiopian faith, both before and after their conversion to Christianity, has so deeply and strongly identified with the Ark, whereas that's obviously there in the early, within early Judaism, and then kind of goes away, and it becomes less about the Ark and more about the Torah. I think that and I know I just made some broad sweeping statements, so Father Stephen DeYoung can come at me or whatever. But I mean, if you ask me personally, do I think they have it? I would just say yes. I mean, I don't see any reason to not credit it. But the point is that these kinds of so let me give you kind of another way of thinking about this. So we watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with the kids. And my oldest son, who's 8, he's like, so is that true about the Holy Grail? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, where is it? And I said, it's in church. You've eaten and drunk from the Grail, right?
Yeah, you've achieved the quest of the Grail, son.
You've been fed from the Grail, because what is the Grail? The Grail is the chalice that holds the body and blood of Christ, right? That's really what the Grail is. And so I said, here's a story about the Grail that shows why it might be important or significant, etc. We can decide, how much we like the story, don't like the story. But the point is that the Eucharist is the very body and blood of Christ. And that the Grail is the thing that holds that, and that's why it's sacred. And that the whole idea that you're going to be healed or that you're going to receive eternal life if you drink from this cup is absolutely what we believe as Orthodox Christians. We believe that because we eat and drink his body and drink his blood, as he commanded us, then as he promised, he will raise us up on the last day. It's the medicine of immortality. It's for the healing of soul and body, etc.
Yeah.
And so in a kind of a similar sense, the thing that you need to understand is that the Ark of God is the Theotokos.
Yeah.
Right? She's the real Ark. She's the real heavenly tabernacle. She's the real, why? Because she carried God within her, just like the chalice, right? Which is why she's
the altar at church is the Ark.
Right.
Is the tabernacle.
And actually occupies the place in our temple that the Ark occupied in the Old Testament temple, whereas the altar was out in the courtyard. Yeah,
exactly. And of course, the Theotokos is very connected with all these things,
right,
particularly in the feast of, her entrance into the temple, which we celebrate in November.
Right.
I mean, all these things come together. And if you interrogate all this with, is that what actually happened?
Right.
Then you're breaking the story and you're missing the point of the story.
Right.